All right, I'm going to set this aside because we're going to come back to it. This one, I'm done with this guy. All right, this one is going to be the same exact, we're going to solve this the same exact way as the last one, okay? So the first thing that you always want to do is break everything down into x and y. All right, so I broke this one down into its two-part, x and y. All right, so we're just going to kind of ignore this one for right now. So I have 1, 2, 3, and 4 forces to play with. All right, now I'm going to write my two equations down. I have the sum of all the forces in the x direction equals 0. I'm going to write over here the sum of all the forces in the y direction equal 0. Now looking at it already, I know which one I'm going to solve because this one, there's only one unknown force in the y direction. So I'm going to solve that one first. Because here we have one unknown and a second unknown right here. All right, so I can't solve those both at the same time. I can solve this and then solve this triangle, and then I'll get this, and then I can find this. Okay, so 975 up. Positive, positive, negative, negative. Okay. And then eventually it's just going to get very visual. If I know I have 975 pushing up, I have to have 975 pushing down. Okay? Or excuse me, 775, not 975. 775 pushing up, I have to have 775 pushing down. All right? This is a 45, 90, oh, 45, 45 over here. Okay, and then if you want to know how to solve this one, you can go back to the previous one, but we know a 45, 45, both the legs are equal, so that's 779, or 5, man, 775. This one's going down. The sense of this one is down and to the right, so this one has to be going to the right. All right. Mathematically, I could solve this. This one right here is going up, that's positive, so 775 plus this one right here is going down. It's a negative, so negative 775. If you add those together, you get 0. So I'm good there. Okay. This one over here, I have 775 going to the right. Okay, 775 going to the right. That's positive. This one, just looking at it, I know it's got to go to the left, and it's got to cancel this one out. So it's going to be 775 as well. Okay. Now, mathematically, how would we have solved that mathematically? Well, I had 775, and this connects to point B, so this would be plus, and it would be line segment BC equals 0, and then I could solve that by subtracting 775 from both sides, and I would find out that BC equals negative 775. Well, a negative is going to the left at 775 units of force, okay? So that's how we could solve that one mathematically. All right. Are we done? Not yet. Remember, we still have to come back and solve this guy. All right. Equation. Last time I used a squared plus b squared equals c squared. This time I'm actually going to use one of the sine functions just so that you can see how to use that because you may not feel comfortable using a squared plus b squared equals c squared. But let's just use it. All right. So this is a 45-degree angle here. So this is going to be my theta, and I'm going to use the opposite and the hypotenuse. So here's my opposite, here's my hypotenuse equals the sine of 45. So scribble this out. So what's my equation? The sine of 45 equals, and my opposite is 775 over my hypotenuse, which we don't know yet. Well, how do we get hypotenuse by itself? We'll multiply both sides by hypotenuse. All right, and then I'm going to divide both sides by sine of 45. So what happens? The hypotenuse cancel, the sines cancel, so I'm left with this equation. The hypotenuse equals 775, or the opposite, divided by the sine of 45 degrees. Okay, so let's punch that through our calculator. On 775 divided by the sine of 45. And I get 1,096, okay? Equals 1,096. I'm going to write that on here. 1,096. I've just solved the hypotenuse for this triangle, okay? Now this entire free body diagram is done. We're going to jump back to our big one, okay? You're going to start to see that we just keep flip-flopping back and forth. So let's update this one down here with the information that we just solved. This is 775. This is 1096, okay? 775 and 1096. And we also, well, we've updated. We also need to do our arrows down. This was going, if we look back here, this is going down and to the right, and this one's going to the left. So to the left, down and to the right, okay? So for this one here, if this end is pointing away from the number, what does this end have to do? Point away from the number. This one's pointing at the number, so what does this side have to do? It has to point at the number, all right? When they're pointing at each other, it's in tension. When they're pointing away, it's in compression, okay? That's just how I always remember it, all right? So we're moving along pretty quickly, okay? We've got this one solved, this member's now solved, and this member's now solved. So let's go back. We've updated our table, and let's take a look at where we're at now. This one has 1, 2 unknowns. This one has 1, 2, and this one also has 1, 2. Which one do we want to start with? Let's go up to D. Okay, I like to go to D, just so that we can see what's going to happen, because this one has 2 angled ones. All right, and you'll see that once we jump to it. So let's go to D, and we need to do a little updating. Okay, from our previous drawing. So I'll slide this down. All right, I know that this is 1379 going up and to the right. 1379. Okay. This one right here is unknown, and this one is also unknown. Something to remember, though. Okay, we already broke this triangle down in a previous step. So instead of going back and trying to redo it all on our own, I'm just going to recall it. Remember, we broke this one down to 1379. We broke it down into X and Y. Now, the only thing that's going to be different from this end, the numbers will still be the same. The numbers will still be the same, but the direction will be different. It's going to be going up and to the right, okay? Because this arrow tells it. This arrow told which direction these guys are going, up and to the right. So this was 975, and this was 975, okay? Now, again, the first step is always to break everything down into X, Y. So we also need to break this guy down into X and Y.